So in the previous class, we were learning about the place, the next P of marketing, retail marketing in specific, that is place. Now here in the place, we understood what is the importance of having a place, and this place of business can be virtual or physical. It may be a normal store or a website platform where you will be able to purchase goods, and where the retailer will be able to sell the goods to the end users or customers. Now after that we understood who all will be included, or who all will be the important persons in the place. So they can have intermediaries, they can have distributors, wholesalers, retailers, and many more selected people or supporting people who will be helping us to run the business. And this place has to be put up into the right location. So we also have seen in the other chapters how right location we have to decide, and by what is the importance of right location. So that is place. Next, going on to the next concept, that is supply chain or supply channel. Now supply channel is the process flow where the raw materials, from the raw material stage till the product is manufactured and it reaches the customers, what all procedures we do, that completely is covered under supply chain. Now let's take for example, we are supposed to let's take an example of a pen. Now we are manufacturing pen. Now this pen, what all raw materials do you require? Now raw materials for that matter, okay, just hold on a second. So if we are manufacturing a pen, the major raw materials required for us is the outer body of the pen. Let's say we are considering plastic. Okay, the required plastic for manufacturing of the pen is considered, and then along, not only pen, but pen also requires certain pen also mainly requires refills. So refills are also manufactured together. Okay, if without refill only body of the pen does not make any sense to be sold. So plastic pen, the outer body will be the plastic, and the refills also. For refills again you require plastic as well as ink. Now along with ink you also need certain colors. Okay, so you will have different color pens, all that will be required. So these are our raw materials. Now for manufacturing a pen, we want the plastic for the outer body, and we to manufacture refill we want plastic, we want ink and colors, different colors of ink. Apart from that, we also require a rubber bush, which is usually put in the pens, or which is usually added in the pens for a better grip. Now all of these are our raw materials. Now once we convert all these raw materials into the finished goods, that will be your pens. Okay, the finished goods will be your pens. Now this pens will be packed. Okay, packaging. Now that packs may consist of different colors. Okay, you will pack blue pen separately, black pens separately, then you will pack other color pens separately, and then you will be selling it. Okay, once you sell and it reaches customer, that is, this complete procedure is called as supply chain. I hope everybody is able to understand. Starting from pen, whenever this pen starting from your raw material to the finished goods, to the packaging and selling it to the customer, this whole channel where you will have to take the products from one place to another for the manufacturing, to the other place for the packing, and to the other place for selling, all of this includes in the supply chain. Okay, so the supply chain or supply channel refers to entire network of companies and businesses that work together to design, produce, deliver and service products. So if you see here, first they design the product, that is using all these raw materials, they design the product, variety of pens, different designs of pens, 5 into 4 into 1 pens. Then you will have whitener pens. Many variety of pens have come out. Then produce, you actual do the production of these pens and pencils that are required in day to day work office. Then deliver of the product. Now which ways are you delivering the product, and then how do you give the after sales services? Now if the pens are very expensive, then you can always write back. If not, usually for the products like pen, they don't require service, but there are many other products where you will have to give complete uh, you'll have to give complete concentration on to the customers, and you will have to give them the services. So that is your supply channel. Specifically, supply chain encompasses the steps it takes to get a goods or service from a supplier to a customer. Now from supplier means who will give us raw material, to the customer, that is wherever our products is bought by customer. From first step 1 till the step end, we'll have to make sure everything goes on smoothly. That is called as supply chain. It's a network of facilities associated with the flow and transformation of goods from raw materials to end users. So again, it's almost repetitive of a point. So it is a network of facility. This is important. Now network of facility means only one person cannot do all the work here. So you will have a group of people who will get the raw materials, again a group of people who will manufacture, again a group of people who will do packing and packaging, and then some others will do labeling, and then it will be there are a set of people who do distribution. These pens has to be distributed to many other places throughout the country. After that only it will be sold to the customer. So you require a very good network here to sell your product from step 1 to the last step, that is customer. Then it includes various organizations such as manufacturer, wholesaler, dealer, agents, retailer to supply the product to the ultimate customer. Now I hope everybody remember that we studied channels of distribution. Now in channels of distribution, this was the longest chain. So it starts from manufacturer and it goes to the wholesaler, then to the dealer or agent in between, and then to the retailer, and then that retailer will sell it to the end customer. So this is the channel. We are using the same channel from where? From the manufacturer to the consumer. Okay, so this is supply channel. Any doubts in this slide? Did you all understand? Anybody has doubt in this slide here? Okay, let's continue. Now after supply channel, how does that network of facilities work, or what all it includes? Okay, let's understand it furthermore. Now a flow of material from supplier and their upstream suppliers at all levels. Then you have transformation of goods, that is you convert the raw material into semi-finished or finished goods. After that you have distribution of products to the customers and their downstream customers at all levels. Let us understand this with the help of this diagram here. You have suppliers, supplier, customers, customer, supplier, supplier again. Now what happens here is all of these people who you see here will be giving the raw materials to the manufacturer. Okay, now supplier. Now let's take an example for you to understand it better. Okay, students, kindly mute yourself. Yeah. let's continue. Now, for example to take, let us take, we are manufacturing a shirt. Okay. Now, to manufacture a shirt, what all the raw materials you require? You require thread, then you require cloth, the actual cloth, that is the major raw material. Okay. Then you require buttons. Okay, and some canvas and all the technicalities. Okay. Now, suppose the supplier, okay, the supplier, if he wants to, uh, he is the major supplier, he will be giving lot of raw materials to the manufacturer to do the production. Now, so what the supplier does is, he will collect thread from one supplier. Okay, he will collect the buttons from another supplier. Again, in buttons you have many variety of buttons, and again he will collect cloth or that major weaved textile from the other person. Now they are going to collect, this one supplier is going to collect that from many other people, and he will be giving that to the manufacturer. Now manufacturer, this is called upstream. Okay, this procedure of collecting the suppliers raw materials and providing it to manufacturer, this is called upstream. Okay, so now manufacturer will take all these raw materials of thread, cloth, buttons, everything, and is going to convert that into the actual product, the finished product, that is shirt. Now once he gets that shirt, he will sell that or he will be giving that to a distributor. Now distributor goes on and does his part of marketing, and he will distribute that to the retailer. Now retailer here will buy the product and he will sell that to the end customer. So if you see here, it's the upstream, that is where the raw materials are coming to the manufacturer, and this final part is the downstream, where the product is being sold to the end customer. Now this customer, once he buys the product, he is very happy about the product. Now he can go and sell it to somebody else, or he can get many other people to buy the product in the same retail shop. Okay, now once he gets the product to same retail, once he get more customers to the same retail store, now retail store sales will increase. If retail store sales will increase, he will get more stock. Okay, retailer will get more stock, which means distributor has to give more products to the retailer, which in turn means manufacturer will have to manufacture more shirts. Okay, manufacturer has to manufacture more shirts and have to give it to distributor so that he can go on to the further process. So it is not only one way, but it's a two-way process. So here supplier, all the suppliers are giving their supply to the main supplier, who will give the raw materials to manufacturer, which goes to distributor, retailer, and end customer. And again, if customers like it and they require more, or that is one scenario. If they have any complaint, okay, case one is they all like the product and they want to buy the product. Now case two is they did not like the product at all. Now they want to return or complaint about the product. Now in case one, that is profit, or they all like the product, they will increase the sales. Okay, in profit scenario, they will increase the sales. Suppose this shirt had some damages, it was torn out, the quality was not good, and these customers did not like the product. Then in that case, they will complain it back to the retailer. Retailer will send the message to the manufacturer. Okay, retailer will send the message through distributor to a manufacturer. Now manufacturer will think what is the solution for this. He will get better raw materials from suppliers, and then he will do the production. So that is why if you see the arrow, it is on both the sides. Okay, it is not only on one side, it is on both the sides. So this is how the network of facilities will work. It's not only one manufacturer who will do all the production, or one supplier who can give all the products. So there are many people involved, and that is why it is called as a network. Okay, network of facilities. Did you all understand this slide? Anybody has doubt here? Okay. Let's go to the next slide. This is continuation of that. Supply chain. There is a complete definition given here. A supply chain consists of flow of products, flow of products and services from raw material manufacturers, component and intermediate manufacturers, final product manufacturers, everything is given. Okay, then apart from that, they'll also include wholesale distributors, retailers connected by transportation and storage activities and integrated through information planning integration. Now this is whole lot of network that has been added up. Now let's just read this slowly and understand what all extra networks are added. Now a supply chain, what all it consists of? Flow of products and services from raw materials. Okay, who is going to give us raw materials? The suppliers. Then manufacturers, component and intermediate manufacturers. Now many times what happens, the same shirt example only we will take. Now shirt is being stitched in one plant. Okay, this is plant A. This is one company where they are going to stitch the shirts. Now there is another company which is B. It's all part of the same shirt manufacturing only. Here is one plant where they will do the manufacturing, or where they will be stitching the shirts. Now when you come to B, their only work is to stitch the buttons. Okay, here the only work is to stitch the buttons. So for stitching buttons, they have a separate manufacturing plant. So once they send the goods from A to B, now production is happening at two process 1 and process 2. So this process 1 to process B, when they send the shirts, that again will become intermediate manufacturers. You have 2 levels. Sometimes you will have 3 levels of manufacturing. You can find them in automobiles. You can find few of them in other electronic goods also. You'll have them. Okay, so there are not only first level manufacturers, you will also have intermediate manufacturers. Then you will have final product manufacturers, something like automobile. Now bikes, engines are produced in one plant. Then you will have outer body manufactured in the other plant, and then assembly will be done in a separate plant. So that is all. Totally, it's called supply chain. Now if you remember, when we had been to TVS, now they told only few of the parts are manufactured here, and many parts will be bought from the other plant, maybe in Chennai or maybe in Hyderabad. From other places they get. So the other components whichever they got to Bangalore, those will be intermediate manufacturer, and Bangalore plant will be final product manufacturer, because they were assembling the final product. Then wholesale distributors. Now all this product which are manufactured will be put into, or will be given to wholesalers. Now these wholesalers will stock up good amount of stock. They will have many numbers. And now retail stores will, that is the showrooms will come and buy, or will come and take the stock from wholesale distributors. Once they take the stock, then these retailers will sell the products to the end customers or consumers. Okay, then but for the manufacturers, now suppose if manufacturing is in Bangalore and the wholesaler is in, let's say, Shimoga. Okay, now there is quite a distance for them to travel. This distance is less only, but we get lot of automobiles from other states. Okay, let's say UP. Now the transportation of these finished goods has to come from UP to Bangalore. So the transportation and storage activities have to be taken care. And to take care of all of this supply, you need to have network. Okay, network along with a proper supply chain will always get success in the business. So that is known as supply chain. Next, let us go on and understand few components of supply chain. Uh, First one is planning and control methods. Now, when we are maintaining a stock and when we are maintaining a proper inventory of how much is coming, how much we are manufacturing in the company, we'll have to be very sure about what work we are doing. So no mistakes in that maintenance of stock has to be done. So you have to plan ahead how much you have to manufacture and how much you have to actually sell. So that is planning and control methods. Now if you don't plan and simply go on and do the production, and situations like now, like how the COVID-19 situations are happening, we might, if the company had to close down and they have too much in stock, then it is not a good sign for the company, because they have too much in stock, all the finished products which cannot be sold immediately. So they have to plan it up and control the methods. Then workflow or activity structure. We have to see how many activities are done by the company and where it eats away more time or it is taking more money. All that has to be structured, or all that has to be put into on a track and maintained properly. Then organization structure, the hierarchy. Who is my immediate reporter, to whom should I report, or who has to decide on certain projects, all that has to be taken care of. So that also comes in supply chain, because the decision making is important. Because the decision making, if it goes wrong, or if they're buying it from a wrong supplier, or if they have manufactured the wrong product, then the company will be at loss. So they have to be careful. Then communication and information flow facility structure. Communication is very, very important in supply chain, because what product is required will be communicated by the customer. And even they customize the product or generally do the product also, they have to be careful in putting out the messages. So that information flow, from whom it has to come, who is the superior person who has to communicate. Just like that, not all employees will be allowed to communicate, because if everybody starts speaking, then the customer or the actual person who has ordered will get confused. Okay, and there are chances of lot of miscommunication happening. So that is why communication and information flow has to be done with only one person who will be able to tackle everything. Then product flow facility structure. Now product flow also we have to plan and segregate. Now as how we saw in the TVS company, now product flow has to happen between few groups only. You cannot give the production to every employee which is present in the company. So we'll have to divide them based on their talent, skills, and what they are good in, all that, keeping all that in mind. And the product flow has to be given to particular teams only. The rest of the teams will have other works to be completed. Then management methods, paying on time to the supplier. Then you'll have to make sure the supplier of raw materials is happy about our payments, or you can request for some discounts later, or offers can be provided later. or our customers are happy or not, all that has to be decided by the management. Okay, there will be a set of people who work as management, who are capable of deciding on every small to the biggest issue or the information in the company. Everything has to be checked upon. Then power and leadership structure, that is what, again, it's a complementary point to the management methods. Under management methods only, you will also have this power and leadership structures. So who is given the power to make decision, or even if they have given power, what is the extent of the power? Now even in a college, teachers have the power to make decisions about the students, or we have the power to make decisions of the internal marks of our subjects, but we will not have power to decide the internal marks of other subjects, right? So we will take care of our subjects, and other teachers who handle their subjects will take care of their subjects. Like that, the power will be distributed between the people, and not everybody will get the power. They will have the hierarchy. Who will be the leader? That leadership comes with a little amount of power. Then risk and reward. If one person is ready to take a lot of risk in manufacturing enough stock to sell it out. Now suppose this year the demand for the number of shirts was only 10,000, okay, but we had already manufactured 15,000 shirts, so 5,000 is already in excess. So what are the ways where we can sell our product? Because keeping those products in stock is not a good sign for the company. Always you can only have certain percentage of goods in stock. If not, we have to sell the products and manufacture fresh products. If we keep more products in stock, it shows we are not able to manage the inventory well in the company. So that's not a good sign in the company, and it also affects our balance sheet. The inventory value will also affect the balance sheet. Then culture and attitude. What sort of culture is being followed in the company? Now again, going back to the same example of TVS, we had to walk on the pavements there. Okay, we were not allowed to walk on the roads, because they will have vehicles which will be moving around for transportation of finished goods or transportation of raw materials. So there are certain cultures, rules being followed. Okay, in many companies, they don't address the hires or superiors or their colleagues or anybody with sir or madam. They directly call with the names. So these are certain cultures which differs from company to company, and every person has to blend with it. It will take some time for them to get adjusted, but they can blend. Okay. Students, can you kindly mute yourself? Okay. I hope everybody is clear with the supply chain and components of supply chain. Any doubt in this? Okay. Second point of this. Okay, I'll just apply. Workflow and activity structure, is it? Now, in this components, the first one was how to plan and control whatever the procedures we are doing. The second one, that is the workflow or activity structure, I will plan for one quarter or for 3 months, how much am I supposed to do the work. Now, let's take for example, April, May, June. Okay, this is quarter 1. As per our accounts, this is first quarter, that is quarter 1, April, May and June. Now, in this 3 months, what all work I am supposed to complete? Okay, how many orders do I have? Okay, how many orders do I have, and how many orders should I complete within 3 months only? And how many orders am I supposed to deliver within 3 months? So that will be my workflow. So I am planning which is the first order I have to complete, and then which is the next order I will take up. It's something like your subjects. Okay, now first you will think of one subject to finish. Maybe you will think Kannada is easy for you, and you will first complete Kannada. First you will study Kannada and you will complete it. Next, after that, you will think, okay, now I will take up some other subject. Let's say next you are taking stats. Then you will take stats subjects and you will complete it. So you have a list what you all have to complete. It's like something like a timetable that you make, but in the business they make the timetable on weekly basis, they make the timetable monthly basis, quarterly basis, 6 months, 1 year. So there are many time intervals of timetable which will be made and which will be followed. So a little here and there differences will be there, that's fine, but they will mostly try to stick to the same deadlines. Okay, so that is workflow and activity structure. I hope that cleared the doubt. Anybody else or have any doubt in this slide? Okay, we'll just finish the objectives. Okay, so objectives of supply chain. Now we saw the supply chain, the workflow or the activity flow from the raw materials of supplier till the product reaches the end consumer. Everything is counted. So why this supply chain? So what is the major objective? First thing is to maximize overall value. Now when we keep ourselves organized, or now that you have timetable for a class, so and we also have timings being set. Okay, we say your class starts at 10 o'clock in the morning and you're supposed to be there. So you have a proper timings given to you and you're all ready for the class. Today I told you have a test at 9 o'clock, so you are all ready at 9 o'clock for the test. And so when we give you a structured format, it is easy for you to follow it, where you will have a productivity, or you will be able to finish your work properly within the given time. So that is overall value. So using the supply chain, using a proper structured way, the companies also will be able to increase their productivity and make sure the products reaches customers on time. Now if someone has booked a car and they're waiting from 6 months to get the car, that is not a good thing. Okay, you will whenever you have given the date, suppose they have booked a car and you told you will be getting car within 15 days, and now it is more than 2 months, 3 months that you have not given them, or you have not delivered a new car at all. So it doesn't give a good sign about the company. So, and the customer is also very much fed up with the service. So you have to make sure that the supply chain works properly, and all of the manufacturing process, distribution process, everything is into the control, and it will increase the overall value of the company. Then to increase supply chain profitability, if we properly utilize the supply chain, that is the networking, so many people are there in between. Now how we saw in this diagram, we have so many people from starting to end. So if we maintain all of these people in a proper way, then we will be able to save a lot of time, a lot of money, along with a lot of energy. Okay, because wasting energy on unnecessary things, it doesn't make sense. So you will be first saving a lot of time. You can computerize many things. You can these are few ways. Okay, you can computerize many things. Internal communication has to be very clear, to make sure the communication is done to only one person. if too many people involved, there is always a problem. So to increase the profitability of supply chain, you can inculcate lot of other ways also. Then to balance supply and demand in a timely manner. Now, like I gave an example of booking a car. Let's say they have booked an Innova car, and the company told, or the showroom told, within 15 days you will get the car. But now it is more than 2-3 months. They've not got. So there is a demand for that car, but the supply is not being given properly. So that will also that is first of all not at all a good thing on the company's side. So they have to maintain a proper supply for whatever demand is there in the market. So that's why it says timely manner. Whenever we have told we will give the product, it has to be given in that particular time only. So these are the objectives of supply chain. Okay, any doubts in the concept of supply chain? 6 marks question, write a note on supply chain. And there is one more question pertaining to components of supply chain. This can be asked for 6 marks. Full 14 marks question which will ask you the whole concept of supply chain. These are the possible questions from supply chain which I've already asked. Any doubts? Any slide you want me to explain?